Today I want to talk about FOMO, which comes up all the time, but also just how to handle. I've done some podcasts in the past on this about you're always missing something all the time because there's 8 billion people looking at so many things every day, and you're just one person. So in some ways you're always missing out on everything, which if you think about it, maybe makes you feel a little better about missing out on some stock. But when you happen to pay attention to that stock or that thing, or you invest energy in it, you feel entitled to catch it, and if you don't, it pisses you off. So handling that is kind of the first thing. But today, a little different twist on it is just in general thinking about good trading and a good trading process, and kind of what that means, and going through all the little steps along the way to understand, like, am I trading well? And if I'm not trading well, what can I do about it? And is FOMO a part of that? Or when you're trading well, you don't give a shit about FOMO because it's about the process of if I do this 1,000 times, is it going to work out on balance? And that's a process-oriented approach versus like, oh shit, I knew the NASDAQ was going to go up. It came down to my area and my kid was sick, so I was at home or whatever, and I wasn't able to trade it. So then I'm going to do something stupid instead. And that all gets us, that we get hit by that once in a while, and it's sometimes hard to manage. But I'm going to read to you something that the owner of my firm, when I used to trade from a prop group in Chicago, they sent this out to us in 2006, so it's an old one. It's really good though. Actually, this is from 2000. It's even older than that. But this is for day trading. So if you're swing trading, it's very much the same. But I'm just going to read it right through to you because I feel like it's really good, and I want to hopefully I can post this on my website or something. But I want to just rattle it off because I think it'll help you kind of figure out where you are. So the first thing, it's called rolls. Rolls mean like I'm on a roll or I'm not on a roll. So number one, what is a roll and what does it feel like and what's it like to be on one? So he says you're making money every day, your losing days are small, you have a few big winning days here and there that you fall into even though you're not trying to have one. Your trading seems to click. Even when you make a mistake, it turns out that it's a profitable mistake. You still make money. When you make a bad trade or you're down money, you are confident that you're going to get it back by being patient and waiting for good opportunities. Even though you've had a bunch of average days, when you look back over the month, you made a lot of money because without the big losing days, it adds up very quickly. You are varying your size according to market conditions. When it is busy and you have a good feel for what you're doing, you are trading larger. When it is slow and you can't get a good read on what's going on, you're happily trading smaller. You are in the zone and everything is going your way. So that's kind of step one. So I'm walking and trying to read, so if I stumble, sound like a goofball, that's why. Point two, how to get on a roll and how to stay there. Trade small enough when making decisions. The size of your position does not make you hesitate or feel uncomfortable. Be patient, pick your spots, find good locations. You only need to find a few good trades each day, each week, each month, whatever you guys are doing. When you are wrong, take your losses quickly. Do not think about money or ticks, just get out. Be confident by doing the right things. Not thinking about money, you will get yourself on a roll. Consider that doing the right things is a good day. Even if you do everything right and you lose money, it's a good day. That's fine, and over time you will make money. Be happy and content to take what the market gives you. If there is nothing in the market, stay on a roll by not losing. If there's a great opportunity, you will naturally take advantage of it. Be humble, the markets are always right. It is not your market predictions that get you on a roll. It is by doing everything else right. Okay, so now the third part of it. What ends a roll? You become overconfident and think that you're calling the market so well that you can get in a bad location and still make money. You start doubling up instead of taking losses. No one goes broke by taking a loss. Every blowout story starts with someone doubling up. You sit when you are wrong instead of taking a loss. You are trading way too big for the market conditions. You have one bad day and you press hard to make it back. Usually results in having another bad day. Nip it in the butt right away. Now that you've had a couple bad days, you are really chasing it and you are starting to lose your confidence. When a trader becomes frustrated and melts down, it's always justified by statements like, I know I'm sitting with losers and doubling up, but I'm already stuck so much, I'll just do the right thing when this is over. Don't justify that, do the right thing right now. A few bad days and you start doubting your skills. You start thinking, well, it was all luck, maybe it was a good market, maybe it was a bull, and I was on the right side. The good news is after 3 or 4 days of doing all this, if you just do the right things, your confidence comes back and you're on a roll again. Okay, so I'm done reading it. So a couple things stand out that I want to talk about in there. First of all, we can all relate to this 100%. The big thing is you seem to think that when you're in a bad position, you have to, once this is done, I promise I won't do it again. And the better thing is just to slice it and get out. Just cut your hand off and start over. Don't, or else you're cutting your arm off and you're cutting your torso off by the end of it, and it just gets worse and worse. Usually, a lot of times you can manage it and it'll come back, but then when you can't, you really can't. So the best thing is just to do the right move right now and start. The other thing I've noticed is if you want to add to a loser, do it in advance with a very small position. So let's say that you want to buy an uptrend. You find the areas you like. You say, okay, I want to get on, let's just say, my size, I want to get on 2x or 3x. 3x we'll say, okay? And this is the zone I want to buy. So I'm going to do 1 here, 1 there, and 3 here. And then my stop is here. So you're in an area and you're stopping out of the area. But you know that if you get in those waves like that with size, you can handle it if it doesn't work. So in a sense, you're adding to a loser, but it's with a plan and it's with the trend. That's very different than going unconscious and adding to a loser, especially when you're not going with the trend or something. Even if you are fading something because you have a good reason for it, you think it's stupid news or it's a trend in a bigger time frame, the idea of like pre-planning and having that risk measured out is really the only responsible way to do that if you're going to do that. So oftentimes I've had a lot of success when it's busy, especially. I often trade much larger when it's busy, but I do it very small. So what I mean is, if we're in a 100 handle range in the S&P 500, I might be trading a fifth or an eighth of my size, but I'm always starting the day small because I do not want to go down mentally and emotionally in the morning with a bunch of losers. So I'll start small. And I do this a lot with my longer term trades too. And I get in and then it wiggles around a little bit. And if it comes off and I still like it, I put some more on. And then, but ideally I want to add to my winners, not my losers. And then when it comes back up and starts firming up or has one last squeeze, I can handle it because I'm not too big and eventually have my risk still I know where I'm wrong, right? And then it starts to work, I add more. And then it goes, maybe it really works out and I get out of some and it comes back and then I add more. Then it goes up to the high and I add more, and that's how I trade. It doesn't mean that's the right way, and not every trade is like that, but if I see an explosive move, that's the way I like to play it. And that way I'm right with a lot on, and I'm wrong with less on. And it's worked for me, and I like to feel the market that way. I think when it gets busy, you want to trade smaller because if you start big in the morning and get hit, it's just devastating. So, but you also can make a lot more money when it's busy. So I like this idea of being smaller to get bigger when it's busy, and that what I just described is how I do that. The other thing he talks about is when you're trading well and it doesn't work out, sometimes you take a loser when you're making money. You get in and it starts working, and you're like, this does not feel right. You just get out. Something's not right, or something that you thought should happen is not happening, and I'm just like it's not right. I get out and then it ends up being a loser, and I'm just feeling it. I'm very attuned to all the things I'm watching. Whereas when you're not trading well, everything's a max loser. It's like it's going to go to your stop, and you're kind of unconsciously going to a number, like wherever your max risk is. It's funny how that happens. So don't be afraid to get out when things don't feel well when you're trading, when you're seeing things. I think that's an important one. This idea of just like thinking in terms of bigger picture, process-oriented approach of you try a lot of things and you figure out eventually what you're kind of good at or what your personality fits, and you start working that whole process, and everything's geared towards that process. And how do you do that 1,000 times and be good at it? And even if you're looking at thematic ideas and you're doing 8 to 10 trades a year, I still think it all fits into that bucket. Versus when I tried to move from short-term trading to swing trading to position trading, I made so many mistakes along the way thinking that I could just do the same approach. And ideally with like adding to winners and the process I described to you, I stick to that for the most part, but it's just a different game. And the way I figured it out was just lots of experimenting into what works and what doesn't work, and I'm still doing that. And this idea of going with the flow and the whole surfer, I've given you the surfer analogy before with you want to go surf, so you show up when the waves might be there, and when the waves come, you just simply go ride the waves, and it looks really easy to everybody else. Look at this guy riding the wave. You're not doing anything. You're riding the wave that already existed, and you're just there because you knew it might come. That's like showing up for the market when it's busy, and you know there's going to be waves, and you ride them when they come, versus showing up because you think you want to make money, and you're going to put trades on, you're going to make waves, and that does not work well because we don't make the waves, we ride the waves. And it's just so simple, but you can really just get out of your own way when you think that way. It's like, I don't have to do anything, but I might do something. And it's like, that's I feel like that's a great thing for life in general. It's just, I don't know, dating, anything, right? Just forcing things that just don't fit, forcing relationships, forcing, the clingy person who wants everyone to like them, and it's just, it fits so well for trading too, I feel like. So there's some of that in here. But another point I want to point out in this is the idea that when you're trading well, it's amazing how you think you can trade every move. So it starts off with like, I'm so beaten down, I'm never going to figure this out. And all of a sudden, like, there's a quiet place of like, okay, I'm just going to go in. I used to do the 1-page trading journal. I've talked about this in the past too. You put down like, I'm going to wait for 1 or 2 scenarios today, and that's it. Can I just obey that? Can I actually do what I say? This is when you're at your bottom, when you're struggling. And you do it. Okay, you build a little confidence. You can honor yourself. And all of a sudden, a couple of days of that, you find 1 or 2 winning trades. You feel good again. Confidence comes back. And then at that point, maybe you're a little bit bored, and just being bored is a good thing. Like you're awake and you're conscious, but you're kind of whatever, right? Maybe I trade, maybe I don't. Great place to be. And then a couple more winners come. All of a sudden, you nail a big one, maybe you add to it, and let's go all the way to the top of the cycle. Now you can trade every move. It's really busy, and you're going to get long real quick because it's going to go up one more time, but then ultimately you think it's going to go down, but you're going to sneak in a long trade first, then you're going to flip short, yada, 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 and all of a sudden you get stuck. And you get blown out, it goes down early, then it goes up, then it goes down, you get caught on every side. You end up being right with your thesis, but you get wrecked. You give back a whole bunch of money, maybe 40, 50% of what you made really quickly. And then you say to yourself, well, it's okay because I did so well, and you justify it. But it's actually you're the most vulnerable after a winning streak. Like you just are. Because you're going to think you can do everything. But you got to go back to like the beginning of this document where he talks about how do you get on a roll. You go in there, you wait for opportunities. You find a spot where if you're wrong, hey, it won't hurt much. So what does that mean? Well, there's a lot of little things, and there's a lot of important things I could do a full podcast on, and these things that I'm rattling off. Like, what does it mean I'm not wrong by much? Well, I really want to buy, but other people might want to buy too. So where are they going to be wrong? Where are their stops going to be? Let's maybe get in. Maybe we get in where we would get out, because that's where everyone else is probably going to get out. So if we're wrong there, it's not that painful. You know what I mean? Everyone's looking at the same support and resistance levels. What if I get out where everyone else? What if I get in where everyone else is probably getting out? And that's worked very well for me in a busy market because it always overshoots. Then I'm at that real like crazy extreme area where that's where I put my first position on. If I'm trading small, I can do that, right? I can handle that. And then when it snaps back up, everyone got screwed. Maybe I rebuild my position bigger. But putting myself in that position, well, when I think I can call every move, I'm certainly not doing that trade because I'm so smart that I'm already in. I'm predicting things. I'm not waiting. I'm not thinking about what everyone else is doing, which is an important aspect of trading. So there's no second order thinking. There's just like, we're going to go up. If I'm holding stuff against me, it worked out, so I'm feeling even more emboldened. My P&L went up. I'm not thinking about the process anymore, though. I'm gone. I've lost it. So I'll kind of leave it there, but I just think that these are all things that you never don't need to hear these things, no matter how long you do it. These are always important things to hear because it's just the natural cycle of things. And eventually you do it for a long time and you get better and better. No one's perfect, like a 30-year, like I've been doing it in 20-some years, but a 30, 40-year veteran, I would imagine, still makes these mistakes, just not as much. They don't dip down as low. They stay up more. They spend most of their time consciously operating and very little time unconsciously operating outside the process. Still, of course, they're going to slip and it's going to happen, but it's just less. So when I first started, there was guys at the prop firm who were great at making money, but they would always lose it all. The boom and bust cycles, which I'm sure some of you are going through. And then you evolve past that where you get so beaten down, you forget how to make money, and you rediscover your risk taking, you make the money, and then you're like, okay, maybe I make a little less, but I don't lose near as much. That's a better plan because now I can trade bigger because I know that I can count on my risk management. Well, if you can count on your risk management, you can trade bigger because you're not going to slip and break your leg, so you're going to roll your ankle and walk it off. So that's the old saying, right? If I fall down a couple steps, I try to run. Okay, maybe I'm okay. I walk it off. I fall out the window. I bust my leg. I try to run. Uh-oh, major injury. And that's the same thing with your trading account. And I've given, if you go back a few years, I've had some dark moments where I've given some, you can probably tell when you hear my voice. And I tried to run on a broken leg a couple times and didn't go so well. and I had to do the slow rebuild. I've done so many slow rebuilds that I don't know how you don't do that if you're going to survive. It's just part of it. So, anyways, I'm gonna leave it there for today. But I just thought that was fun because it's an old document I had that's super valuable, and I should probably do this podcast every year, just talk to myself because it's never too many times to hear it.